Hey, Claire.
Hey, Natasha.
I hear you're getting chickens.
How many times have I told you? Are you tired of me telling you that I'm getting chickens?
No, I want to hear more. How many chickens? Where will they live? What are their names?
Oh, well, okay. So there's a lot to that. Are you ready for an episode on chickens? I'm just kidding. But
Yes.
but maybe. So we got a like pad laid for our chicken coop. So there's like
Okay.
these people came in, knocked down a bunch of trees, like dead trees, and made this really nice area that has some solid rock put down for this 8 foot by 20 foot chicken coop. And I'm so excited. My husband is like, these are going to be the most expensive eggs we've ever eaten.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. So, bought the chicken coop. It will be delivered. They said this week. As of this recording, it is Thursday, and I still don't have my chicken coop. But I'm not allowed to purchase chickens until the coop is here and insulated. But I
Amazing.
have purchased lots of things. I have a box here with an automatic chicken door that's solar powered that you can set on a timer and then it will open, and the chickens apparently will leave the coop and then by themselves know when to come back in the coop. I don't know how this happens. I have so many planned science experiments with my chickens because I've also seen somebody that attached a GoPro to their chicken's head, like a
Oh,
tiny one. Can you
oh,
get a
I love that.
smaller
Yeah, I
GoPro?
can't. Isn't it bigger than a chicken's head?
I would think so. I don't it wasn't though in this video, so I need to figure that out. Because have you ever seen how when you move a chicken around like in a circle in front of you, its head will stay in like the same spot? I imagine it's like, when a ballerina dancer does their spins, but they they
Mhm.
they move their head around so that they're still staring at one point pretty much the whole time. So chickens can do that, and I don't understand really how, but
We
that
need
makes
proof
them
of this. Like,
right.
I need when you get your chicken.
Oh, it's
Chickens.
happening. But you
I
can
need.
attach a GoPro to its head and then, like, film videos moving
Mhm.
this chicken, and it stays stationary, like,
Wild.
so it's natural. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I have so many thoughts and ideas of how to use my chickens that I don't currently have. So, yes, I'm getting chickens according to several of my friends who have chickens. There's something called chicken math, and you plan to get like 4 or 5 chickens, which is my plan, and then apparently what happens is that you see that they go on sale for like $1 each
A
at
dollar.
Tractor Supply, and so then you end up purchasing like 12 chickens, and then somebody else will have chickens that they need to get rid of for whatever purpose, and then you end up with 23 chickens, and that's how chicken math works, is you
Got it.
say you're gonna get 4 and end up with 23. So I don't know how many I'm gonna have, but it's gonna be
So,
great.
as you build out their home, just make sure you leave enough space for the chicken math.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just gonna work. I don't know how it works, but it's going to work. But there's so many really cool things that you can do, like, to build this automatic water filler thing to water the chickens, like, give them water to
Mhm.
drink. And, yeah, so I'm really excited about the engineering involved in getting chickens because 'cause I'm gonna figure out how to connect my well water to plumb an automatic water filler, and how to insulate the chicken coop and measure the temperature and make sure my chickens are comfortable.
And
Yeah.
this is why I think STEM teachers should have the freedom to pick their topic, right? Because you have just brought up so many different science, engineering, math lessons, and my head is spinning. I'm like, oh, you could do this as a design challenge. We probably wouldn't use chicken math as an official math concept, but you could do some really fun calculations.
Yes. So many things. Like, one of the things I'm gonna try to figure out is I want the chickens to survive in all seasons, and I live in North Texas where it is ridiculous hot in the summer and then can still get below freezing. So, I need to figure out where's the sun gonna be? Did I angle my chicken coop the correct angle, which I think I did
Mhm.
because I actually had to calculate that. I monitored the sun to see where the sun would be shining and the angle that it would be shining on the coop and on the run and which direction I should have the door face. So I've got lots of things. That and then the other side is like the botany side. So I'm looking at different plants and what would be toxic to chickens. So I've had to pull up my moonflowers because apparently those are toxic and chickens are not real smart and so they'll just eat things that they shouldn't. I mean, Moana, right? Hey Hey was not a
That's
bright
true.
chicken and that's pretty much how they all are. But and so thinking about, well, what nutrients do these chickens need and how can I provide that to them more naturally in a way that's sustainable? So planting herbs around the run where they can have access to it, but they won't be able to kill the plant. So there's so much to it. Yeah, so stay tuned. There will definitely be some chicken lessons.
We really are gonna need a series now on chicken stem and all your adventures, maybe a social media series here where you just film all of your engineering projects with watering the chickens.
Oh, that's happening.
This reminds me of a story my husband told me that he got really excited about science because he had, I think it was like a second grade teacher that was obsessed with dolphins. So all their science lessons were related to marine life, specifically dolphins. Like the theme of the classroom, everything was dolphin decorations, and it made him so excited. Like all the kids just loved it. And it, because of the teacher, she was so
Mhm.
passionate about it, and he isn't a marine biologist, right? It didn't like turn into that, but it turned into a love of science for him. So that's what you're like the chicken stem teacher.
That I'll accept that name. Yeah, that can be my title. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is a great point that if you're passionate about something, bring that into your classroom because it doesn't matter what the topic is. Your passion and excitement is contagious. And that's why we also
Yeah.
do like the mission patches and for kids to like show what they are really interested in and then be able to utilize that in tailoring some of your science and STEM lessons to showcase student passions and what they're connected with. If they love
Mhm.
football, show them the football helmet STEM activity and get them excited about how the brain works and how to protect it. So there's so many ties to do your spark. And we'll link to more stuff about finding student sparks in the show notes. But yeah, passion drives so much.
Well, there's another topic that we're also very passionate about, which is,
Space exploration.
so you didn't think I was going to be able to segue from chickens to space, but I think I did pretty good.
You did. Well, everything ties to space, and I don't know if there's been a chicken in space. Actually, I should feel like I should know that.
I
Why
feel
is
like we,
that should have been a thing? Chickens laying eggs in space? Maybe
well,
that's
it's
the next
part of,
CubeSat.
maybe. It's one thing my students have always talked about doing. So if you play the Mission to Mars planning game or the Moon one of the options is bringing livestock to space because
Mhm.
my students are like, you're going to just bring chickens and then they're going to have all these eggs and then you'll have forever eggs. And I'm like, great idea. But do we know how well the chicken will do in space? Will it
Right.
survive the trip to Mars? So, I mean,
Yeah.
everything goes back to chickens, I guess.
It's true. I mean, my first weather balloon launch, the science experiment that was on board was a chicken egg to see how it would fare in the upper atmosphere, and it exploded. So make sure that chicken and the eggs stay enclosed and pressurized for sure when they go to space. But yes, space exploration is, I think, something that actually I've not met a student that is not excited about space exploration. Have you?
That's a good point. No, I
I've
haven't.
never
But
had
I
any
I
that's
may
like,
be
eh.
filtering those experiences.
It's true because 'cause you're passionate about it, so yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, I was
so
running Space Club, and so the kids in my program
oh,
were
that's true.
signing up for Space Club,
That makes
and
sense.
yeah, I had a selective audience. But speaking of Space Club, so Space Club is now managed by the Cosmic Leap Foundation, which is a nonprofit that started a couple years ago, and we have the Cosmic portal, which is where you can find all the Space Club curriculum. So it is now completely free. Any educator can go and sign up. The curriculum targets grades 4th through 8th grade, and it has the Mission to Moon, Mission to Mars series. And so this is where we get some confusion because Vivify also has Mission to Moon and Mission to Mars. So if you were to go to our Vivify store, there is a free version of Moon and Mars, which is the after school program. So Space Club is intended to be an informal program. Summer camp, after school club, which is how I ran it once a week at a middle school. And then we have the classroom version, which is turning into our Engineering the Cosmos curriculum. And so if you were to do the Mission to Moon classroom version, it's based on that original Space Club curriculum, but there's so much more to allow for teaching all these really great science concepts, math components, real world connections for a more formal setting. Does that help explain?
I think that's incredibly helpful. That is a question we get so often about what is the difference? Because people are afraid of the free, but there is a distinction as to why one might be free and the other one is not, because there's so much, there's a difference in content and the setting of where you're teaching it. So yeah,
Right.
I think that's super helpful.
And so Vivify is still heavily involved in the curriculum side of Space Club and Cosmic Leap. And so we have Moon and Mars on our Cosmic Portal, as we call it, which is a space for educators to get training done. So it's on-demand training. And we have this new feature. It just launched last week, is a community forum. So you can go and connect with other Space Club teachers, ask questions. I'm in there. Michelle is in there, who is our program coordinator. And so it's just a way for us to directly connect with all those teachers out there. And so one of the projects that Vivify is supporting is a brand new sequence of lessons that Claire is going to tell us all about.
I'm really pumped about this one because I think it's just so fresh. We've been working on the Mission to Moon and Mission to Mars curriculum for how many years, Natasha? Have we been doing that one in various forms?
It was
And
probably 2015 when I started writing the
okay, yeah.
Moon. No, it was Mars.
So
Mars was first. Mhm.
it's as old as Vivify. It's at least 10 years old,
Yep.
which we've fine-tuned it, I think, so many times that it is fantastic. But I was ready to travel somewhere else. I don't know about you. So we have actually been working on a new planetary side quest where you are going to be going with your students to Titan, which is Saturn's largest moon, and it is known as an ocean world. And another place where we're exploring the possibility of life. And by we, I mean NASA. Super interested in it. NASA is going to be sending a mission, the Dragonfly mission, to go explore the surface of Titan and its subsurface oceans. Anyway, fascinating place to go. And so we're writing curriculum for your students to be able to explore it as well. And it's 4 different lessons that are going to be involved in this. It will be part of Space Club, so there will be access to it for free, just like the other Space Club curricula. And what I love about this is that I have been working alongside someone, a scientist, a lead scientist at Southwest Research Institute in San Antonio. And she has provided so much content and help and resources in developing the science piece of each of the lessons. So each of the 4 lessons involved in this planetary side quest have a science mini lab to explore, like, what is an ocean world? What is it like to look for life on another planet? What is Titan like? You can play with a simulated comet and melt it and see how a ocean world is actually formed from a comet that starts melting. You can so once you do one of the science labs, it then informs your engineering design activity. So for that particular lesson where you learn how an ocean world is formed, then you utilize that information to build an astronaut glove and sleeve that can survive the elements on this ocean world, which it gets pretty cold on Titan, which is why it's pretty frozen in most places. But there is some great science in there as well as engineering content. You get to explore with the hazy atmosphere of Titan and what a landing pad could look like and how you need to illuminate it in the thick atmosphere, all the way to building a rover that will be exploring and searching for life. So stay tuned for more details on that. But what I love about it is how intentional the science content is that informs the engineering design challenges.
And that's what I would love to dig more into, how you went about identifying an appropriate science lesson, and were those science lessons directly connected to the engineering design challenge, or did you see those as kind of two different experiences? One was teaching you some specific science content about Titan and planetary science versus the engineering design challenge was separate with different concepts.
Yeah, both of those approaches I think would be one way to accomplish the same goal. I think so often we look at STEM and we forget about how science informs our design. And so you have to kind of concurrently look at the science with the engineering that you're trying to accomplish. So with this one, I was looking at the overall narrative because there's a storyline of your students being the astronauts that are going to Titan because there is a signal being sent from a basically a rotorcraft, like a drone that's flying around Titan exploring. And the signal, we're having a hard time understanding what it's saying. So there's some breaks in the communication. So your students are going there. This is a fictitious story, but your students are traveling there to figure out, well, what is this rotorcraft trying to tell us? And you get there, and first you have to figure out, well, what is an ocean world like? How do we explore it? And so in order to explore it, you need a spacesuit. Well, what kind of things do we need to prepare the spacesuit to do? And so that's when you look at the science content. How do we teach that science to be able to inform the engineering design process? So it's kind of done at the same time, but with the end goal in mind of we need a spacesuit. What science do we need? So we came up with the science lab. So then the next step is, okay, well, now we need our spacecraft to land. Landing, you need some shock absorption so we can land safely on the surface of Titan. Well, it has really thick atmosphere. Well, how are we going to be able to see the landing pad? What science do we need to know there? And so then you simulate the hazy atmosphere of Titan and test what kind of colors or what kind of lights would be best visible through that. And so there's some science there with refraction and scattering of light. And then you realize that the rotorcraft, it's not a problem with the rotorcraft itself. It just needs a boost from a relay, like a relay communication boost. Well, in order to have that, it has to be able to float on top of the liquid ocean there. It's not liquid water. So you have to figure out what the content is of this water. And then how do you make something float? So you have to learn about buoyancy. So there's the science lesson there. You do an experiment about density and figuring out how that relates to the different chemical composition of the oceans on Titan and how buoyancy works with density. And then you get to build your floating relay tower that's going to boost the communication of this rotorcraft so that when you leave Titan, you'll still be able to communicate and search for life. And then the final challenge is building this rover that's going to search for life, but you need to know what kind of tools you're going to need to search for life. And so you do some research on what tools have been used on other probes or other rovers on Mars, or like the Cassini probe that went around Saturn and studied the rings. What tools do we need to search for life? And then you simulate those as you build your rover and learn about that there. So it's all pointing towards the design. I started with kind of the overall theme. What are we trying to accomplish with the engineering design challenges? But what do we need to know before you can start building something? And that's always the problem, right, Natasha, with a engineering design challenge. Students just want to jump into building without
Mhm.
understanding the why and what before you
Right.
accomplish the task.
So while you were describing this really exciting curriculum, like I was so excited about it, and it's you have put in so much time and effort in connecting with Kelly Miller. So shout out to her and Southwest Research. This is through a NASA funding opportunity. And so we really appreciate her partnering with us. But it took a lot of conversations, and you were not the expert on planetary science. Like, you were trying to come up with ideas, but then she was like, yeah, that's not exactly how it works, right?
She was so kind because I would say something like, "Oh, and then we could do this and the radiation." She's like, "Well, actually, that's not really the challenge." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't
Right.
know."
And so I was having this internal like rant while you were talking because, the listeners out there are asked by their districts to put curriculum like this together. They're like, you're the STEM teacher, go ahead and create some curriculum for an entire year for your second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth graders. Make sure to differentiate it, bring in the real world, make it engaging. And it's like the amount of effort that went into creating it's these 4 lessons, right? That are really thoughtful and intentional about the science content into the engineering design challenge, all with the storyline. It was so much effort, and you've had experience working with students at these age ranges, but it takes the collaboration of a technical expert, someone who understands kids and what is appropriate for students, someone who understands the classroom experience, and you've had to make supply list, right? And we're working with Michelle and like, does this make sense? Is it too much? What do teachers have, right? There's just like all these moving parts. And that's why I'm getting nervous with like the shift in a lot of districts that they're creating their own curriculum and they're asking teachers to be also a curriculum expert, which requires being a subject matter expert. And it's like, this is why companies like us exist, because we are pooling in these experts and we're trying to provide out there the all the STEM educators a fully developed product based on standards and all these pieces so they don't have to do the work. What are your thoughts?
That is so true, and that was my exact thoughts. I mean, I feel like I'm fairly educated in this space. I mean, I have a aerospace engineering background. I worked at NASA. I have a master's in education. I've been writing curriculum for 11 years. I've taught in the classroom for over 5 years and been teaching STEM. I love science and read science articles in my free time. But I got so much wrong when I proposed these science mini labs to a scientist and was like, "This is what I think we should do." And she was like, "Actually, this is what we're really studying, and this is what's actually like. This is what they're thinking. This is some current research." And I'm so grateful there's people out there like Kelly Miller, who is incredibly knowledgeable about these things and that we can pull in. And that's why we love doing the Cosmic Career Chats at Cosmic Leap that are going to be involved also in this curriculum and creating some videos that go along with each lesson with real engineers and scientists working on missions like Dragonfly. Because as much as I feel like I should be able to do these things, I cannot. So I can't imagine the pressure that's put on so many teachers in being able to produce this kind of work on their own. And that's
Right.
why we're here. And that's why Cosmic Leap, that's why you created that foundation to be able to offer this high level, high quality content for teachers. So you don't have to start all over and
Right.
learn things that you don't even know what questions to ask. Natasha, I used ChatGPT to help me with the science content and it was wrong, which we all know ChatGPT is not,
Right.
but I was brainstorming, and it was like, "Oh yeah, the radiation." No, that was incorrect.
Exactly. Yeah, and we've shifted to this culture and education of do it yourself and a lot of like grassroots movement, like teachers pay teachers. We saw in Teachers Pay
Mhm.
Teachers, we think it was a very well-established community of curriculum writers for a while, but then more recently, like if you go on there, it is flooded with like AI generated stuff that is just so wrong, not appropriate for kids. There's some really just bad stuff out there, and it's drowning all these creators that have research-based teaching practices in their curriculum, and they're going to experts. And so it's interesting to think about where education should go because it used to all be controlled by the textbook companies, right? So there
Mm.
wasn't space for creators like us to give out our ideas and for teachers to like be able to learn from other teachers, which is why I like TPT as a marketplace. But now we're like thrown in with this like pendulum of AI and just all this junk out there. So I don't know what the path forward is. But that's where school districts are trying to figure out guardrails. A lot have cut out TPT as a source because
Mhm.
of the stuff that isn't helpful on there, which I completely understand because I don't want you to teach stuff that's wrong in your classroom, but also the tools are helpful. So it's a confusing world out there.
It is. I actually applied to be on the advisory board for TPT, so I hope they accept me because I want to help fix this issue that's gotten out of control. But I am hopeful that more teachers like you, listener, who's listening on the STEM Space Chase, I hope that you share the word because we want to get as many teachers help that they need and support, and that's what we're here for, and that's why we do this. So, yeah, it's a tough place to be right now in 2025, figuring this out and how to make your own STEM content, but you don't have to. We hope to help you with that. So, our partnership with Cosmic Leap and Space Club would be a great resource um, to utilize if you're doing after school programming, especially. And we'll link in the show notes where you can get involved with that and to sign up for their newsletter so you can get notified of when the planetary side quest to explore Titan drops. Otherwise, shoot us an email or a message, a DM, if you need help with anything, because we would love to get you in contact. If there is even just a standard you're trying to hit or a subject that you're like, I don't know where to start with this, and I use ChatGPT and I don't know if this is correct. We can even get you in contact with some people that might be subject matter experts that are even smarter than us on that too.
Yeah,
So
I love that. Well, I think there needs to be another future episode of just us ranting about the state of just the expectations on teachers and the state of curriculum development and what expertise is required to put together high quality curriculum because I don't think people appreciate that and they see teachers as curriculum developers in one, which teachers absolutely can write curriculum, but there's
mhm.
just so much involved in high quality curriculum that I would love to just talk it out with you. So maybe in the next episode. But for now, STEM Space out.